All right, I think we are finally live. Hey, everybody, conversations over here. Sorry for the tardy uh,
We are. We
startup.
apologize.
Yeah, we apologize. But we're going to get right on into it. Thank you all for tuning in. We have a guest with us. Want to introduce yourself real quickly? I want to say it.
Sure.
Say it right.
My name is Jacqueline Spagherin.
Karen. Yes, she is our special guest today. Our conversation is going to be about. Go ahead.
So, listen, everybody by now is fully aware of what's going on with Sean Combs and Cassie Ventura, but there are so many layers to this. It's being that are being peeled back like an onion. But the in the middle is just domestic violence. It's a lot going on. We all know, and everybody's pointing the fingers at who is in charge, but domestic violence happens to so many women and men. The World Health Organization says 1 out of 3 women are victims of domestic violence, and it is not just at the higher economic level. And we want to discuss domestic violence and give you some resources if you are a victim tonight.
So Jackie is a retired Chicago police officer for 22 years, and she is also an authenticity coach. You want to tell us a little bit about that real quickly, just so that we know what that is?
Sure. So, taking it back to my childhood, I was a victim of sexual abuse. Also, I was a victim of trafficking as well. So, part of my life journey was to help people. I wanted to help myself first and foremost, and then also I wanted to help other people as well. Hence why I went to become a Chicago police officer. So how better else to help the community but to work for the community. So that's what I did. I got hurt on the job and almost severed off my hand, and I needed discs in my back, so I had to stop working. I think Spirit wanted me to stop working so that I could focus on really getting down and dirty and helping people, doing the work, not being an enforcer of the law, but really coming and meeting people where they're at, you know what I mean? Actually helping people, being that person that could teach, and that's what I do. I'm an authenticity coach. I help people gain their empowerment, women, men, as well. So you can learn more about me on my website, and it's Passage into Power.
PassageIntoPower.com. Love it.
I love that too.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Jackie. You said you were trafficked. Can you tell, just people hear the words sex trafficking a lot, but not many people know exactly what it is. Can you tell us what sex trafficking is?
Yeah, so let me take it back a little bit. So children, as you know, they just found Puffy's underground caverns, which lead to the Playboy Mansion, Hugh Hefner's mansion, and you know that they traffic children via the underground tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
Sexual abuse is rampant. I would say 1 out of every 3 children are sexually abused, and that's high. That's a high, very high, but
way too high.
It is way too high. But I feel that a lot of times it's not documented, or it happens in the family. How many of us know people that have been sexually abused, or you had that old uncle, that nobody wants to talk about, and everything's hush hush. So a lot of times things they're not reported, and there is a familial kind of hush over it, and that's why it can continually happen generation to generation to generation. So I was abused by my caregivers, my parents, my dad, as well. I was given to different men, passed around to different men when I was a child. I was also taught certain things so that I would be valuable as as a victim, as a child victim. So without going into, I don't know how deep you want to go into it, but I was raped. I was passed to different men in different social circles as well. So, it's not, it's really bigger, it's bigger than what you can even imagine.
Yeah.
And I think so much is coming out right now that all of our minds are gonna be blown.
I agree with that. How long did this happen? How did you get out of it? How long did it happen to you?
So it happened to me up until I was 14, and then it stopped because the programming didn't work. So basically what happens is, you know, they hope that you're not going to tell,
Yeah.
you know, that let their secret out. They hope that you will turn against yourself and not really let any of the secrets out. So that's when it stopped. But of course, you know, more abuse. I knew what was going on. I had all of the hurt and the pain inside of me. But it stopped at that time, and then it was just, you know, more of a physical abuse, more of psychological abuse, things of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys know about MK Ultra or Monarch programming.
No,
Okay, we can go into a little bit of that as well.
absolutely, please.
We're going to talk about, you know, the music industry and how that, you know, shapes a lot of things. You know, it shapes society. Just like we were talking about earlier, Janae, when you can control the media, when you control the music, you control the people.
Yeah, you
That's
have
what
the
they're
minds.
listening to.
That's right.
That's what
It's
they're
programming.
absorbing.
It's, and they call it programming.
It is.
It really is programming.
It's programming. We're being programmed, you know, in school. We're being programmed, you know, through the music.
Absolutely.
There were a lot of stars, you know, rap stars and things of that nature that said, we don't want to sing about, you know, this, you know, gang banging. We don't want to sing about, you know, this bitch, this hoe, this, you know, we don't want to sing around. We want to sing about this. But the powers that be, because Lord knows you sell your soul.
That's right.
You sell your soul when you enter into that
That's right.
industry. And they tell you what you're going to sing about, what they want. And they want that murder culture.
Right.
Murder culture is
And
where
the
it's
whole
at.
bitch culture, and the nastier the rap, some of the rap women
Oh.
that are coming out
Woo.
now, the nastier and filthier they are, the more money they make.
Yes. The
The more
more,
they promote them.
the more degrading.
Absolutely.
And whenever you have something that degrades, you know there's evil behind it.
Yeah.
It is just evil. When you are, whether it's sex, whether it's the culture. I mean, look at urinating. I mean, why? Why? We are human beings, divinely made. Why would
Perfectly made.
perfectly made? Why would we want to degrade ourselves? Why would somebody want to degrade us?
For the control.
Yes.
For the manipulation.
Yes.
If you can control what people are feeling about themselves, you pretty much have their minds, so they aren't going to step too far out.
Right. Right.
You have them pretty much under your thumb.
Yes.
And you were a child, so they got you early, and so,
Yes.
you know, just Cassie was young. She was being groomed when she was an older teen, but she was like 19.
Yeah.
By a 37-year-old man, and that happens even now. And so we did a talk, and I don't want to say that every older man who dates a younger woman is
Perverted.
because I don't think that, but it is also about control.
Yes.
It is always about control. And some people are saying, well, why did Cassie stay? You know, and it's, I see a lot of judgment
Victim
on
shaming.
social media. Yeah, victim shaming.
Yes.
And the fear and the isolation, but more than anything, it is the fear of like, oh my gosh, some women have like another failed relationship, or is this all I'm worth? You know, it's just,
It's true.
it is.
Or this person knows all my dirty secrets now
Yeah.
because they made me do these
Yes.
unthinkable things.
Yes.
You're holding this over my head.
Yes.
It's still another form of
That's
manipulation.
mob mentality.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
it is.
mob mentality.
Yeah.
You know, when, you know, in motorcycle clubs, you know, and I'll use this as an example. We're a law enforcement club, you know, but there are other clubs out there that, you know, part of the 1%, you know, that, you know, in order to join them, you gotta do something dirty. You know what I mean? For, you know.
Is that right?
Yeah, so they got you.
For entry.
So if they
Passage.
see something that you do, and now they got something over you, but that's how they do it in the culture. That's the control.
Yeah.
You know. And did you hear that P Diddy's bodyguard is now speaking it out, speaking the
Oh,
truth?
yeah, I, you know, yeah, and so I was just telling, one of my friends today that I really don't get into celebrity culture and what they're doing and things like that, cause their problems are not my problems.
Right.
And my problems are like this compared to their problems, but all of this has me in a chokehold. And it is because of what we're just discussing. Everybody has been through it. Like I've been through it. I've been talking to, not to the degree of that Cassie's been through it, but I have, and I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want people to start trying to put timelines on it and trying to figure out who I'm talking about. But I've definitely been dragged around, and you know, and I'm I'm a strong person. So then after a while it became, you know, a tussle. So in talking to other women, you would just never know the pain and the suffering that they have gone through, but they have gone through some horrible, horrible things with their spouses and significant others.
And the isolation that goes along with that.
Hospitalization, and yeah, it's horrible.
Because there's that shame.
Yes,
There's that
it is.
shame, like
It
I
is.
should have known better.
It
Every
is.
time somebody gets involved in a narcissistic relationship, you know what I'm saying? Every time somebody gets involved with someone who it has arrested development, because that's what it is. We like to talk about narcissism like it's just so terrible. No, it's arrested development. People do not know how to connect. People do not know how to meet somebody in a safe place, in a
Right.
sacred place. They never knew how.
Right.
They don't know how. So all they know is through fear. How can I make this person obedient to me?
Yeah.
So they don't leave. So it's a control. But there's also on the other end as
So
well.
the narcissist is scared.
Yeah,
that
it's
they're gonna be
fear.
left.
They're gonna be left. So they have to do what they need to do to control you. And that's what it is. It's out of fear. They're scared. But you as a victim of that or being a codependent wouldn't know because you took the codependent way and you're subservient to that narcissistic energy.
Yeah.
That's what makes you a codependent. But there's narcissism there, see? Because even in that codependency, and when I say this to people, sometimes you know, people get upset, but it's so true. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
true. You have to go and identify your arrested development
This
too,
is very true.
because and you see it all the time. The you know, codependent woman receives the beating. The codependent woman, you know, gets cheated on. The codependent woman gets gaslit. And then what happens? One day she just snaps and she shoots, you know, her spouse or her boyfriend. Why? Because that is the narcissism as well in the codependent. One time it's like who's gonna be on top? Who's gonna have the control?
So in that moment, she took control back
Yes,
that she never really felt like she had.
exactly.
Yeah. But you know, that manipulation can come from, and that need for control can come from fear.
Arrested development.
It can also come from the abuser guilting you.
Yes.
You know, they're the victim, and so you feel like you can't move around. You know, stay here, stay right here in my eyesight because what was me? You know what I mean? It's so
People
much.
are so hungry for love, especially if you grew up in a family that you didn't get it from.
That's right. And there's their
You
arrested
starve
development.
And they recognize
And I
that.
feel like the narcissists always have that emotional childhood trauma, and that's where it's deeply rooted.
Yes,
It is.
Yes.
It is deeply rooted.
yes. And so that's part of a programming too. So many people don't know how to connect. How many times have you heard the story of where, you know, the family wasn't shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you didn't get what you needed. You know, I didn't have anybody, you know, clapping for me on the sidelines when I was in a sport, doing a sport. I didn't have any, I was being abused and trafficked at that time. So what does that tell me? That tells me that my caregivers are not safe. My life is not safe. So what must I do? I must do anything that I can to survive. And so that's the kind of mentality
That's right.
that keeps on, and you don't feel good about yourself
And you pass it, it goes from generation
until
Yeah,
somebody
that's right.
says, I could do better. I could do better. I don't know how,
Bravo to you.
but I'm gonna find out how. Trust me, I went through so many bad therapists and so many, I have horror stories, but I can tell you now that I got the help that I needed, thank God, and that I'm able to help other people go through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Help them out of it so that they can live healthy, successful, empowered lives.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Not places, but people and institutions are taught to keep their own secrets, to close ranks, to protect themselves, to actually replicate themselves if they can. And when I hear you, you know, the word survivor comes to mind.
Yes.
So as a survivor, where do you see this going? Do you see that, you know, do we fall off the edge of the earth? Is this something that we can get better? Are you seeing signs of progress? What is it that from the eyes of a survivor, where do you see, or where are we trending? I don't want you to crystal ball it, but where are we trending?
So look, I'm going to answer your question the best way that I can with another question.
Sure.
So when you found out the truth about something, let's say your whole life or the majority of your life, you didn't know something to be true, but then somebody came and said, listen, let me tell you about the truth. And it rang true in your spirit. Let me ask you that question. When you see something that you didn't see as the truth, can you unsee it?
I don't think that a person has the ability to unsee, to answer your question.
Yes. So for me, the more I understood how trauma worked, the more I understood how arrested development and narcissism worked, the more I couldn't unsee. So what I see are a lot of arrested developed people who don't know how to connect, a lot of people in fear who don't know how to get out of it. They really don't.
Do you think they want to?
Some do, but the pain of you being the way that you are and that pain and trauma has to be stronger than your ability to stay in it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You have to want to change.
you gotta
and
be sick and tired.
you have to want to really, you have to really want it. Otherwise, you can tell yourself all different kinds of stories. I see it all the time. People making excuses. Let's take our topic, P. Diddy. You know, where was his bodyguard when all this stuff was going on? And now
Well, he's been talking before this happened. Nobody was listening to him. He and a few other people were talking, but nobody was listening. But I'm gonna circle back to what you said about some narcissists wanting to change. Do you really think that I think some narcissists, and I know, so I do know that people who are in the medical profession cannot stand when lay people use the word narcissism. They're like, it's overused, it's a medical term,
It is.
we shouldn't use it, and I don't disagree. But I also know that we can, if you've been through a narcissistic relationship, you have the ability to spot it. And, you know, I always say, I can't build a clock, but I can tell time. And that's how I feel about certain things in my life. Like I'm not in the medical profession, but I've been through a narcissistic abusive relationship. It wasn't a physical abuse, it was an emotional abuse. And I feel like they don't have the ability to recognize the narcissism within themselves.
some do. I was a narcissist like you would not believe.
Because
I had the arrested development.
you did.
I did. I didn't know how to connect to anybody. I was raised, you know, with people that didn't know how to connect to me. Didn't
That's
know how to
learned
love
behavior. Yeah,
me.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
yeah.
Because and narcissists, would you agree that they, for the most part, I mean, I don't wanna make any blanket statements, that they don't really know how to love, they just know how to survive. Okay.
100%. But then there's something inside of you that questions and I know I can do better. See, when I started to understand who I really was, that I was a human, yes, infallible, flesh, I bleed, but I'm also divine. I am also divine. And I am also a goddess. Hence my name.
President Goddess.
But a lot of narcissists don't have that spiritual connection.
They don't.
And they don't want it because I think they're afraid of it.
They're afraid of exposure. So your
Absolutely.
fear of exposure,
Yeah.
I had to admit, I had to get down and dirty, and I had to say, I am scared. I don't know how to live. I don't know how to connect to people. And, I'm doing the best that I can, but I'm gonna learn how.
But they say that narcissism is a mask for insecurity.
Yes.
But if from the things that I've read, because again, I'm not a medical professional, that, excuse me, if you're questioning if you're a narcissist, they said you're not one. So the fact that you are even questioning that, it makes me think that were you really a narcissist, or did you just have
yes, I
narcissistic?
was.
Or did you just have narcissistic tendencies, or did you just have learned behavior, like Shanae said, that you just mimicked because that's what you were taught? That's what you saw, and more is caught than taught. You know what I'm saying?
I had no idea how to connect to anyone. I had no idea what love was. I would just use people. Like I would date, you remember I was buck wild back in high school. I'd be dating all these guys and, if one guy didn't meet my need, I had 3 more that would. And I used them just like that.
Oh, I know women like that.
Trust me, that's narcissism. When you don't know,
Yeah.
when you don't know that you can have a deep connection, when you don't know who you are. So when I finally realized that I am human, but I am also God and Goddess, it wasn't merely good enough for me to know that, I had to walk it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So getting back to what we were talking about, and I'll answer your question. What I see now is a lot of arrested development. I see generation and generation of arrested development. I see women dating men who are childish, and they are
The women
hungry.
are childish, or
The men, both. It could be men or women, can be both childish. And because people are so hungry for that love, they want to get that one. It's like that one hit. Let me get that hit of love, because that's all they know. But it's just really attention, So they don't know that. They don't know any different. So you've got these women that are taking these men in with arrested development who are not really living to their full potential as men, fully not living their potential
They
as
may
women.
never get there if the women keep accepting nothing.
Exactly. So we are at fault as women.
We're enablers.
To enable.
Yeah.
See, a woman will never mutually submit to a man unless she feels safe.
absolutely.
You have to be
And
safe.
nor should she.
And in order for a woman to feel safe, there has to be masculine energy there. And men nowadays, because their mom must be taking care of them, until they be living in the basement, mom's still doing the water and stuff, they expect to be taken care of. So, this is your job to take care of your spouse and your family. And it's a woman's job to be nurturing and to feel safe in that energy so she can be soft. How many masculine women do we have out here?
A whole lot.
Living in their masculine energy because
A whole lot.
They-
And they call themselves under the mask of bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch. I'm this and
Yeah.
so.
but really,
That's a defense mechanism as well,
exactly.
Or a coping mechanism.
or a coping mechanism,
I think that
Or- a trauma.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of times, people
Derivative.
develop skills or a skill set to get through what they're going through, or to get to where they want to
That's
get
right,
to.
survival mode.
And that's one of them. But I think a lot of times we take on coping mechanisms just so we can kind of get through the day. And it starts off as the hour, the day, the week, the month. And all too often behaviors are replicated, not because they're right or wrong, but because it makes us feel good. It gets us to the next point.
People are sleeping.
Right, we kick the can down the
Mhm.
road. Or that's what I think of it.
People are not conscious, they're not present during the day.
They're just going through the motions.
Motions of whatever they learn, like a robot. Do you want to live your life as a robot, or do you want to live your life, be a creator of your life?
You know, the crux of it all is me peeling back the layers, gonna expose myself so much where I feel completely naked to the world and embarrassed. And can I deal with that? I feel like a lot of people aren't equipped to do that.
They
And
don't
they'll
want to.
always take the path of least resistance,
That's right.
and they'll continue to live in the bubble, and they'll continue to interchange parts, meaning people. Okay, once you can't deal with me anymore, I just put somebody in your spot
Yes,
That's
and
right.
have her pick up where you left off, because this is what I need to feel good about me. Even if it's just momentarily, even if it is just to kick the can down the road. It's not real.
To feed my ego.
Yes,
Just
my
enough.
ego
it's
is
To get through the
vampirism.
day.
It's
the
you
hour.
being a vampire.
It is.
You're feeding off other people's energy.
That's exactly right.
Feeding. Now you know the difference. You know, I'm out there in the dating world as well. It's rough out there. It really is rough out there. So, you know, when I am okay, me and you, we're gonna hang out. So here's the thing: when I interview somebody, and it is an interview,
It is
I
an
wanna
interview.
find out what happened to your last relationship and why did it end.
Right.
Now, if I hear, oh, you know, it was her, and you know, I'm the victim, and so many people do so wrong to me, and
Woe is
whoa.
Mhm.
This man does not have any idea.
No accountability.
No accountability. This man is living in narcissism, and you're just gonna be another person that he's gonna blame
Right.
when the relationship ends, and you're not everything. So here's when you know when you have somebody who is present and cognizant. They'll say, oh, you know, we had problems. I had a little bit to do with it too, and I worked on myself, and these were the issues. You know. Now you got somebody who's conscious, who at least can admit something. So you got someone you might want to look at a little bit better. But to answer your question, getting back to it, a lot of arrested development. When I can't unsee the things that I've seen, and things are changing, but not as quickly as I'd like to see them. But then again, God's not on my timeline.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
So, narcissist, let's not even just call them narcissists, abusers. All right, so it may start off as the need for control.
Mhm.
So baby narcissist maybe, just the need for control. I'm going to manipulate every situation so that I get my way. Is it something that grows like a cancer in that person that
Yes.
fosters into this level of abuse that we see Diddy and Cassie experience? I mean, maybe he didn't start off dragging people down, you know, hallways, but he grew to be that kind of monster.
Okay, so what I see happen.
I don't know. I'm guessing because I don't know.
No,
what
this is great. This is a great question.
Well, science
and go
says
that
that,
way.
you know, you start off hurting small animals and you just kind of grab.
That's for the serial killer thing.
So you just kind of.
What happens is, whenever you see, and this is what I talked about earlier, is degradation of the human being. There's always a demonic aspect of it, always. And so when you start to do small bad things, your conscience
Gets desensitized.
desensitized, and you can do even more things. Let me tell you, there are disembodied spirits around that just ready to just jump in and live vicariously through your body. Think about that.
I think that all too often, we feel like there's gonna be this seismic thing that happens, and after that there's change and, you know, everything's gonna be better. And I mean, this certainly has gravity. It certainly could be seismic. And I don't know if we, you know, that's a false narrative because we always think like, I remember after Columbine, I thought like, oh my God, they hurt children. This is gonna be the one where people finally wake up and get it and it's gonna be all better. And it didn't happen. We found different ways to explain different things. And there was never this, and I don't know that I don't ever remember a seismic shift. But we always, I think that we pay into that, we invest in that. We think that there's gonna be this thing that happens and it's gonna be so bad that people are finally going to realize, okay, you know what, we should get better. And I don't know if this situation with Puffy, and I mean, obviously, the abuse has been out there forever, and it's something that needs to be addressed. And seismic change actually really does need to happen. But I hope that this is the thing, that we finally get that seismic change that we're looking for.
I
Is
think
it gonna
it's gonna-
happen though,
I don't know.
without real repercussion, without some sort of seismic change? Abuse has
we
been around
say,
for as long as probably sex has been around. It's
Right.
been around for
Exactly.
forever.
Yeah.
If there aren't any, press that again, if there aren't any real penalty behind it, like, okay, you go away for life, there is no parole. If there's nothing to stop someone from saying, okay, so my freedom might be in jeopardy, my ability to move around, I don't think things really change until it affects your pocketbook or your freedom.
In order to have seismic change, you're gonna have systemic punishment.
Yes.
It has to be something,
Well, Harvey Weinstein went to jail, I mean, he wound up dead, but
but I mean, but
But do
That-
we really
but
know
that-
it?
But
that he's dead?
we
you
have
know
to
what?
accept the
You're
fact
right.
that he could be, because we can't prove that he's not.
We can't prove a lot of stuff.
True too.
But within that, there exists a situation where even with Harvey Weinstein, there were other layers to that. You know, the punishment wasn't systemic. It wasn't,
Yeah.
we didn't go up to princes and kings and dictators and all of these other people. We just kind of got the people that were low hanging fruit. You know, we got the drivers, the Uber driver, this person or that person, the girlfriend. But there were so many layers. That had the opportunity, in my mind, to be systemic.
So we're talking about change. I'm an astrologist also, so I spend many times looking at the way things are aligned. We just came out of the age of Pisces, which is the age of unhealthy man, patriarchal rule, right? So, you know, we see it now. It's the age of Aquarius, the age of the woman. So if you go ahead and go tribal, you know, my tribe, you know, I'm Hispanic, I'm Mexican, so my tribe, your tribes, they all worship the mother. The creatrix was worshipped and honored, not the man. Because she is the only one that has the portal to the other world to bring birth in. Yes, a man is needed, the sperm is needed, but the portal, the woman holds.
The nurturer.
The nurturer, the mother, you know, and so needs to go back. We need to go back. And what do? We shut up all the tribes. We shut the tribes up. We don't want to hear that old, you know, oogie boogie stuff. Well, let me tell you, we got to go back to the oogie boogie to get to the main thing. People back then understood what tribe meant. You know, it takes a village, and I'm sure you've heard this, to raise a child. It truly does. Where are our connections now? Do we really have tribe?
You know, when the young woman was on YouTube discussing the passageways and that she experienced, and she was sex trafficked twice, and the celebrities that she met and former presidents, and when she started talking about that, and she would see people and think, oh, I'm gonna be safe, but she wasn't. So I don't know. I don't know.
So there is a whole
you guys, police officers, teach children, go to a woman when you feel like you're being threatened, when you're in danger, but sometimes that's, is that.
More times than not now.
Yeah.
Don't-
But now that there are women who are perpetrators as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Okay, before it wasn't that they weren't able to be, but now in these time and age, yes, they can. But you have to understand what is ruling everything. See, there's a smoke screen. So we think that it's just rap culture, domestic culture. These people sell their souls to the cabal, to the Illuminati. That's who runs it. So, they look at this culture, they say, we're gonna make money. We're gonna rule, with news, and we're gonna rule with music. Why do you think so many of them, they tell them, we want you to sing this song, we want you to do this, and they say, no, we don't wanna do it. Guess what happens? They wind up dead. They call that the 26 club, or when they become 26 years old, so many, you can look it
Oh, I
up.
heard, yeah,
You can look it up.
yes.
That if you do not do what these executives or the
Yes.
cabal, the Illuminati say,
It's a lot of famous singers who died at 26.
yes, they will kill you. They will murder you if you just do not do what they say. So they sell their soul also too with Disney, this Monarch programming. All those girls that went on Disney, all of them, they were programmed. Monarch programming is sexual programming. You'll see the butterfly on Beyonce. You'll see the butterfly, they all got butterfly tattoos because it's sexual programming. These children are programmed since birth. Walt Disney also had underground caverns underneath his playland, Disneyland and Disney World. So he was also a high-ranking Satanist, a high-ranking Illuminati person. So this is what I'm saying, is that these people who are in rap, in music, they sold their soul. They can't produce what they want. Why do you think Prince did what he did? The artist formerly known as Prince, he wanted to produce himself.
Right.
Because he didn't want to listen. Prince was awakened. He knew. He had minds like us. He questioned things, but he saw a lot. But you hear a lot of people whistleblowing. Pedophilia is off the chain.
It is. Oh,
It is off the chain.
it is.
So with this, with our club, one of our main focuses, and it's so funny that you asked me to speak on this, are the children that are lost, the children that are trafficked, the children that, that are lost in the system, that no one cares about. You know what I'm saying? How many people, look at, they said Oprah. Oprah was trafficking all of the African children. You think these people are helping, but they're really working for the cabal. So, and they're seeing all different kinds of
Now,
crazy things.
How much do we know is true and what, you know what I mean? Like, we know we hear things, but how do you discern truth from, okay, let's just throw this person in the ring?
Your heart.
Your heart.
Your heart knows, your spirit knows. Just like it said, nothing that is the truth will return void, but it'll accomplish what it's set out to do. You can't, when you hear truth, you know it in your body to be truth.
You also know when you meet somebody if they have good energy or not.
Yes.
Central nervous system will tell
Will
you
not lie.
every single
Sure.
time. Every single
That's
time. Every single time.
Mm-hmm. So, getting back to your question, I'm overwhelmed, because I see so much that I can't unsee now, and it gets overwhelming. So I look to the astrology and the gnosis behind it, saying that this is now, a new age. Even with the Mayan calendar, it ended in 2011. People thought that the world was going to end. No, the world as we know it to be ended. And now a new world is coming. Can't you feel it? Can't you feel it in your bones? Can't you feel it's coming? Something big is coming.
Cat Williams said in his interview with Shannon Sharp, he said, the 2024 is the year of truth and everything's coming out. And we see it. We see it coming out.
So, taking it back in history as well, how many people have done a study on the Greeks and the Romans? They had little concubine, little boys that they would rape and have sex with, orgies. You don't think things happening now?
Like we were saying, this abuse in general has been around for as long as people.
And there are so many pedophiles that want to defile the children, the innocence of the children.
That must make the demon so strong.
Yes. Anything that
If you can,
hate us,
yeah.
hate humans, and anything that they can do to degrade, to hurt. Because when you touch a child, you touch them for their whole life.
You do.
For the whole life they're touched, trying to break free of the things that were done to them.
Yeah.
Especially if it's familial. It ain't no joke. It's not easy getting free. It's not. And I commend everybody who's able to do it. I commend the whistleblowers that are gonna come out. In a way, everything is so secret, you know what I mean? It's like, and then they get you to act a certain way, and now, everybody's got dirt on them. So when they see the children trafficked or somebody having, sex with a child, what are they gonna do but turn their back? Because it becomes normalized.
So whatever Cassie did to free herself, we don't know that side of the story because she's not talking about that, she's private, but I would imagine that all those years of abuse.
Yes.
That she and Kim.
Yeah.
underwent. Yeah.
Yeah, and
You have
any
to
other
love
woman
yourself.
probably that he had any type
Every
of
woman, yeah.
long-term relationship with.
We are looking for
Yes.
heroes. We
Yeah.
really are. We're looking for role models and heroes, especially in our Black and brown communities. Who do we have to look forward to, especially if you grew up in poverty? I grew up in poverty.
And that's when it happens.
Yes.
It happens to minorities mostly,
Mm-hmm.
poor people,
Yes.
but which is really interesting because it's about control, but I don't understand why is the
I
financial.
think it happens
aspect.
not just to, I think it happens a lot in poor communities.
Yes.
I think there's a whole dynamic that goes into that, like the stresses and the depression, all of
So
that.
something you can't control, let me
Yeah.
get this kid or.
But I do think it happens in wealthy families too. I
Yeah.
think
Oh, we
it's
know
just
that.
much more
I didn't
hush
know.
hush. Yeah.
But the World Health Organization said it happens to minorities and the people without money more so than financially well off.
And I think that, historically, institutions have sought to keep that down. If we just picked on a low-hanging fruit, the Catholic Church, they were taught to really kind of sweep that under the rug.
Kind of.
Well, I'm
They
Look
swept it.
at all the pedophiles.
I'm like,
see,
but-
see,
but-
you have to understand.
Kinda.
Let me
Yeah,
go
nothing
deeper.
happens.
The Jesuits and those people who are in the Vatican, there are underground caverns underneath the Vatican. There's child trafficking there. And let me tell you something. Yes, do pedophiles know what position to be in or what jobs to go in? Yes. But how many pedophiles were hiding in the Catholic Church? They knew they were going to be safe there because their secrets were going to be hidden.
And to hide in plain sight.
And nothing happens to them as far as repercussions, they're just reassigned to different churches.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, so they know
Oh,
you at this church, so
yeah.
let's take you
Oh,
and put
naughty,
you across town.
naughty.
Yeah,
You
don't
know.
get caught.
But we're not going to do anything to you. You're not going to go through
Oh.
jail time. We'll
Yeah.
give you some money, hush hush money,
Right.
and that's it.
Right.
You can't talk about it ever
Right.
again.
They'll stand behind you in the media. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is a guise. What I'm saying, that is a beard. It's a
Yeah.
beard. You have to look for different, like what I'm saying is, look at, if, like I said, I don't have any proof that Oprah did it. Do I know deep down? It's the beard. Yeah. She
Your
was,
heart tells you.
yes. So you look for places that will hide and you could feel safe. People can move around, and do what they do under the guise of a beard, right? Catholic Church, you can move here. Yeah, we allow pedophiles, you know. You can abuse all these little boys.
Yeah, how much you got?
Yeah, exactly. So, and here it is, you know, Oprah's doing good stuff, you know, in Africa, for all these children, really?
Yeah, she just opened up, another school, didn't she?
So, beards, you know, beards underneath that, you know what I'm saying? And what you're talking about when you said the different political people, they're all involved. We've got attorneys, you know, police officers, lawyers, who are all part.
So is it like 3 good people in the world?
Girl, sometimes I ask
Who are
myself
they?
that
Let's
same
sit right
question.
here.
Okay, really, if you want to know us, we're the 3 okay people in the world, trying to do our best for people, trying to do our best. But sometimes it does feel like that because people would rather remain unconscious and not aware.
And then who do you go to for help? Like, that's the big question. You know, you had talked about a seismic change. Let's say, I mean, on an individual basis, I may feel like I want to make a seismic change. Where would I go? Who's going to hold my hand and walk me through this process so that I can make a change? Is there anybody? Is there anybody?
I'll hold your hand. I'm trying to make
Is there
change where I
anything
am.
left?
So,
That is such a good point, because I don't, even though I brought up the question about, you know, how do we have this seismic change, I don't really honestly believe that the world works like that. I think that the world gets better one person at a time, everybody doing their part. And, you know, at different points in this conversation, we've all talked about people who've kind of shucked their responsibility to a degree. Somebody who walked away, somebody who didn't see, somebody who could have done something better and didn't. I think that the world gets better one person at a time.
Yes.
And you know, it would be nice to have like a proclamation and a PowerPoint presentation and everything was all better and we had ice cream and it was good, but it's probably not gonna happen like that.
We need to awaken. Like what I was telling you about it, it wasn't nearly good enough for me to know that I was divine and that I was a co-creator with spirit and that I could create my reality and I could be the hands that helped others. It wasn't merely just me knowing that. I had to walk it. I had to change, and where I wasn't divine, where I wasn't acting like a goddess or, you know, a co-creator with spirit, where I had my little secrets or my unknown sin, I had to give it up.
so discussing it gave you power.
Discussing it and also doing it, because it wasn't, I wanted to be the best person that I could be. I still do. Every day I change. Every day I'm more open to seeing my deficits, you know, and it comes with awakening, you know, one thing at a time, one person at a time, awakening to the fact that they are human, that they are God, and they can connect to that and be better. Because really, honestly, our parents are the first people, if we're raised with good parents, telling you no, or that's bad, or you don't want to do that, or whatever, and they're kind of your guard keepers, right? Sometimes religion can be your guard keepers. But honestly, if there's nobody to check you, why change, right? But change, it has to come from within. You have to want to be better. Not because anybody's seeing you or you get caught, because you know deep in your heart that what you do is not kosher, it's not right. So how are you going to be an upright citizen if you're not following the things that you know to be true? Treat others, it was so simple.
But that lends to another thought though. I mean, all of this together, it's kind of like just a big mud pie at this point, but there's responsibility for the outliers too. So you may have a person, 2 people in an abusive relationship, and the abuser is trying very hard to isolate this person from the world. So, you know, you don't get to see the bruises. You don't get to see the missing hair. You don't get to see a tooth gone, but a black eye, whatever. But there are people that see, and being silent is not one step at a time. It's just turning a blind eye when you know that you could be doing something to help advocate for this person who cannot seem to advocate for themselves.
Be careful, cause they're ready to chop your head
They
off.
are
if
ready
you're
to
not ready.
But
sometimes people
I
don't want
realize
to.
that, but the world can never change if everybody says it's not my business. I don't want to be
Well,
killed a
no.
messenger.
That's
No.
why tribe is important.
Because I don't know, because sometimes you don't want to get involved. You just want to act like if you were in an abusive relationship and you were afraid to come out of it.
Whatever your level
I
of
would have to
advocacy
say-
looks like,
Yes,
is what it looks
I would
like.
have to be your backbone behind closed doors.
That's
I can't-
advocacy.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but as far as like getting involved and trying to make you move out, some people just aren't ready for that level.
And I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
that wasn't what I was saying, but it is a conversation that you could have with someone, that there is help if you need it, when you want it. Because like we had talked at some point, even if it's not something that they can receive right then and there, at some point,
Seed.
those words, yes, will resonate.
Yes.
That seed will
Yes.
bud,
Okay.
it
I
will
agree with that.
flower, and then that might be
Yes.
the catalyst to help you
For
walk out
change.
the door.
Yes.
Yes.
It may not be today, tomorrow, maybe 19 years later, but something is going to click, an epiphany is gonna happen, and those words that you gave somebody, a prayer, whatever it was, whatever level of advocacy helps.
Let me talk about tribe for a minute. So, when we're in tribe, and we have a tribe, right? These are people that we see on a daily basis. You know, they see us, we see them, we work together for a common goal.
Yeah.
You know, taking care of each other's. Things were a lot different way back when we were young, right? Doors were open, some of the things. So, when you have tribe and you got a busted lip, what do you think the priest of the tribe is gonna say? Oh, no. So you got accountability there, right?
Right.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Your husband's gonna, or your man, or whoever, the wife, whoever did the abusing is gonna have to make restitution and be accountable for that action.
Mhm.
That's why tribe is so important, because we really need each other. We need each other.
We do.
You have to recognize when someone is trying to isolate you from your tribe.
Yes.
Because I think that's one of the first signs of abuse.
Yeah. Oh my
Yes, yes,
goodness,
yes.
it sure is.
Mhm.
Especially with narcissists. They do try to isolate you from the people that care about you.
Absolutely.
Because it's easier to
Because they just
control.
want to be that person.
That's right. They
In your
want to
mind.
be, they want to be everything. You're
To you.
everything.
Yeah.
If I can't be your everything, then I can't control you. Because then you're gonna go to other people.
Let me ask you guys a question, and maybe you can each answer. When you, what happens when spirit or your inner voice or your higher self, whatever you want to call it, another lesson is coming in, or the same lesson comes in, and you're like, wow, this seems familiar. I've been in this before. What do I need to learn from this? What am I not learning? Have you ever had one of those epiphanies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what do you do when it comes in a second and third time?
180.
We need to change it. So not a lot of people are conscious,
Yeah.
right? So what happens is the lesson keeps on coming again and again and again and again. You must ask yourself, is this person that has come into my life a start to a new beginning, or is this an old pattern?
Mm-hmm.
Does this person fit my future, or does this fit my past? So when you start asking yourself those questions, then you can be able to see where this person fits in your life.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you can see where you're part of the problem and not
Yes.
part of your own solution.
Because
Yeah.
a lesson will repeat itself
Yeah.
until you've learned it.
Yeah.
It will keep
Beating
presenting
you
itself.
and beating you up,
Yes.
and that's it. So this is how I believe it to be. Is we come here. This is a prison planet. It's a prism and it's a prison planet. And how we get off this planet is by raising our vibration. How do we raise our vibration? By doing the things that we know we need to do, by learning the lessons and evolving and raising that vibration. See, love is a high
I
vibration.
love the word evolve. Evolve,
Yes.
evolvement, changement. I love all of those words.
How do we get off this prison planet? Is by evolution, by evolving. And it happens to each of us. You know, we're learning our lessons. So guess what? We gotta come back here and learn the lesson that we didn't learn the last time if we passed.
I love the word vibration because I feel like I live on a different vibration than other people. I choose that vibration.
Right on.
It's a choice.
You choose. You can have the worst day possible.
And I'm choosing
To
to
stay.
be joyful and happy about
Yes,
it. Right.
Because there's always something to be joyful. There's always
Yes, it
something to
is.
be happy about.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
There's always something to create and to look forward to and to see nature, beautiful people.
I just feel like I work hard to defy gravity, if that makes any sense.
I love
I
it.
feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you 100%.
Plus, I think that vibration is a second cousin of resonation. And for me, everything has to make sense.
Yes.
And so if something is vibrating the right way, if it's on the right frequency, it resonates with me. It resonates with me not just on an intellectual level, but on my spirit and my soul. And I mean, I'm not rider for justice. I'm not gonna get out here and defend everything that I see that's wrong. But if something resonates in my soul, I can get behind it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And why do you think they have us in school for how many hours?
6 hours a day now.
But back when we were in school for
We
so
were-
long.
It was 8.
We had to be quiet.
Yeah.
We couldn't, because our imagination is powerful. We are creators. We create through our imagination. If you can see it, you can have it, right? And so why do you think that they wanted to teach us all these things and make us be quiet and we couldn't use our imagination, we couldn't daydream? Why? Because it's powerful. They don't want us to create. They want us to stay, you know, on the low vibration so that we're not moving anywhere. They feed off of us. They feed off of our resonation.
A good friend of mine told me that, and this is a quote, the brain wants what it's fed, right? So it feeds off of what you're feeding it. It just craves it over and over and over again. You're right. So if they're just constantly feeding you this one thing, then that is what they think that you'll just want. But if your mind will wander and you want to explore, there's a whole side of the brain that we aren't even using.
Yes,
Like, it's just dormant.
yes.
That if you can tap into that, yeah.
12 more strands
Yeah.
of DNA. That is, they call it junk DNA, but is it really junk?
Probably not.
It's not.
So as smart as we think we are, we probably could be so much more next level.
It is all of those other, what they call junk DNA, it's all our spirituality. It is our ability to see things with our third eye. It's clicking our amygdala forward so that we're not in our animal self, right? If you see somebody, okay, so if you see somebody on the street, a lot of times they're in their animal self. What is an animal self? It's the 4 F's. Food, fight, flight, and fuck, right? All those things can be holy. We can make those things holy. We can pray about them. But they are our animal selves. And we are animals. We are. And so do you see people who all they want to deal with is food,
Absolutely.
fighting,
Yeah,
flighting, and fucking?
they're
Absolutely.
worshiping those things.
Yes, it's the animal. It's the animal self. So what we have to do is we have to click our amygdala forward, open our third eye, and see ourselves for the spiritual beings, not only for the animal self. It was very frustrating because I had a lot of knowledge, and when I was working the beat car, I would see the same woman beaten, over and over and over again. And I'm like, what do you want? I want him locked up. I'm going to get a warrant for his arrest, okay? And then the next weekend, beat up again. I thought you said you weren't going to let him in. He has the money. He's my baby's daddy. What am I going to do? Well, you keep on getting beat up. When are you going to, stop that cycle? And it was like I had so much knowledge I could teach, but there was nothing I could do because this person did not have an education past the 5th grade, couldn't understand the concepts. So I had to meet them where I was, give them food, comfort, whatever I could, however I can meet the need. But it's so frustrating.
But those
Did she
purse
finally
strings,
get out of it?
No.
the purse strings are a big deal, the financial component of
Absolutely.
control. That is one of the basic needs to have the food, to have the shelter, to have the clothes, to have the bare bone necessities. So if someone is pulling the purse strings, controlling the money, and you have nothing, you will find yourself probably
Which is why
staying.
narcissists, initially when they meet you, they love on you.
Yeah.
Yes,
They want you to think that they're the greatest, they get you whatever.
they study you.
Yeah.
They study you before. They see what turns you on and what you need.
That's exactly
And then
right.
what they do is they go in there very, very much perpetrators.
Mhm.
But they've been doing it since they've been young. So, and that's how
Plug
they,
those
Paying
voids.
attention to what people.
because they
Survival.
don't know.
Because
Yes.
it's survival, because it's like, like you said, you paid attention to how you were given attention, how you wanted to know how to survive.
Yeah.
And that's,
So they don't know how, so they do what they know, and it is survival. They're getting fed the best way that they know how. But once you know that there is a better way, you gotta do it. You gotta go that way. Otherwise, you're just gonna continue on in that cycle of abuse and that cycle of, and let's talk about older narcissists. What happens? There's two types, right? There's an overt and covert. And there's also narcissists that care about their physical, and some are mental narcissists. So it's whatever they feel is more important.
Whatever their strength is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So some people, if they get older, they
try
don't.
to control your emotions. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
as opposed to with physical violence.
That too, and then also too, they find their strength in their beauty. And when they get older, they're finding their bodies breaking down. They don't have that beauty anymore. So what happens to them? You know what I'm saying? It's interesting.
Well, thank you so much. I love it so much. I want you to be able to tell our
Yes.
viewers out here.
If you are a victim of domestic violence, you are not alone. There are many people who are right there with you.
Yeah.
The National Domestic Violence Hotline, and I'm trying to talk really loud because I want to make sure everybody hears this. Call 1-800-799-7233. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233. Do not worry about what language you speak. They have over 200 interpreters. They will hear you. Your voice will be heard. Your language will be interpreted. Call them. And I'm going to repeat that number. National Domestic Violence Hotline is 800-799-7233. Everything is it's safe. It's safe for you to call them. It is. Thank you so much.
So much.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
me.
sharing
I'm
your
so
story.
blessed to be
For
here.
being so vulnerable with us, with the audience. I mean, the work that you're doing is priceless, and God bless your ministry. And
This was very important
Yeah.
for us to have this talk because Cassie Ventura and all of the women in Sean Combs' lives are not the only ones. So they're everywhere. 1 out of 3 women are experiencing domestic violence, whether it's physical aggressions or emotional and aggressions. So please, if you know someone who's going through it, help them.
yes, and there is help, and this is proof right here. This is a survivor of the worst kinds of abuse. So, I mean,
Yes.
Very much so. And you can be, I just want to encourage you, you can be the hands right where you are. Wherever you are. I ride a motorcycle. I love motorcycles. This is my club name.
What does it
what
say?
does it say?
Wait, hold on, let me see
Here.
the top.
Las Chingonas.
Las
does that mean?
Chingonas.
Las Chingonas means a woman who does the things her way.
Love it.
And so we are an all-women LEMC, and we are here to help children and to empower women. Children lost in the system, children who have been trafficked. That is my heart. So this, I thank you all so much for allowing me to come on to speak about things that are so close to my heart and our club's heart. So if you ride, and if you want to be a part, and we're doing things for the children, we're actually having an event on the 22nd of June at Cigar Lounge, and it's going to
Where is
Safe
that? Is that in
Passage.
Chicago?
It is in Frankfurt. It is
Okay. Frankfurt, Illinois.
Frankfurt, Illinois, and you can follow us on Las Chingonas page. We have a page on Facebook as well. And the proceeds are going to Safe Passage in DeKalb, and it's a shelter for women and children.
It's awesome.
Thank you everyone for listening. Share, subscribe if you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, and share. This is very important and everyone needs to hear this. Share this with everyone you know. Put this message on your page, share it. Thank you very much for attending. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Oh, you seem so familiar.
Do I?
Like I've met you before. Yeah, I probably have.